Welcome to Animal Posse, the podcast dedicated to the people and rescues making a difference in the lives of animals. Welcome back, everybody. Today we have a very special guest whose life work is all about giving a voice to creatures that can't speak for themselves. If you follow wildlife rescues on social media, you've likely seen the incredible, heartwarming bond between a licensed rehabber and a very famous bobcat named Tyler. Joining us today is Moon Taylor. She is the founder of Spiritual Wildlife Rescue and Rehabilitation Sanctuary. She is a licensed wildlife rehabilitator with many years of experience rescuing, healing, and advocating for native wildlife and exotic species. Hi, Moon. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I'm super excited to hear about Tyler the Bobcat and then also what you do with your nonprofit.
Okay.
To start, can you share a bit about your background with our listeners? What drew you into wildlife rehabilitation? And how did your journey in animal rescue begin?
I'm a farmer's daughter. I grew up on the farm, and out being in the farm, we had all kinds of animals, and I've always had the passion for it. So when I moved to Texas, I wanted to continue that passion, and I made my passion geared towards the special needs wildlife because they need a lot of hands on. They need that compassion, that extra care that a lot of rehabbers cannot give.
So, when you say special needs wildlife, what do you mean by that?
You'll have wildlife that comes in with burns and or a severe hip injury or a head injury, and sometimes they're deemed non-releasable. That means they stay in your facility forever. Like Tyler, when he came in as a baby, he was literally him and his mom was captured by some hunters, and they killed his mom. They put him in this little cage, and they let dogs torture him through the cage where it deformed his paws, tore open his eye and his back, and I had to do a lot of hands on for Tyler to save his life. And during that time, he became very imprinted. He had to have surgeries on his paws in order for him to walk. There's been other bobcats that have came in, like with the burns, a lot of hands on there with nurturing and caring for him. That trauma head injuries, it's usually because they've been hit by a car, those type of special needs.
I've spoken with a few other wildlife rehabilitators, and typically what they'll do is if somebody finds, say, a raccoon that's injured in the city, baby possums, those types of things, they'll rehabilitate them and then they release them back in the wild. With the special needs cases, is that different? I know you still have Tyler. So for the
Yes.
other ones that you get, do most of them have to live out their life with you, or do you have the ability to reacclimate and release some of them?
That's a case by case scenario. The vet determines if they can be released back into the wild or if they cannot. If they are released back into the wild, I have several friends and attorneys and vets that own farmland. They get to be released on the farmland where they've got shelter, like a barn to go into, creek to have water and to fish with. We've got cameras there to help protect them. And then we also provide extra food to make sure that they're not going hungry. But we make sure that they're very well protected and no hunting is allowed. But each case is per the vet's determination. And if they
Sure.
are considered non releasable, then yeah, they spend their life with me, or if there's another sanctuary that's willing to take in a special needs to have as an educational animal, they are welcome to go there.
The name of your rescue is Spiritual Wildlife Rescue and Rehabilitation Sanctuary. So
Yes.
tell us when you started, when you became a 501c3. And I also love your name. So I'd like to hear more about how you settled on that name too.
I came upon Spiritual Wildlife Rescue and Rehabilitation Sanctuary because my parents are Indian, Apache, and Cherokee. And my tribal family helped guide me to choose what I felt comfortable, what was a calling. As to becoming a 501(c)(3), I started back way back in 2008, maybe earlier.
I see too that you have a USDA Class C and Class T license. What does that mean?
Yes, I am state and federal Texas wildlife rehabber. I am also a Texas State educational instructor and trapper. My USDA Class C and T, my Class C means I can have all kinds of exotics, anywhere from mountain lions to cougars to pumas to bears to wolves. It means I can help transport them. I can take them in and bottle feed them. I can get them to other states. My Class T is a transporter's license. That means I can transport any animal I want to any state.
That's very interesting because I knew at the state level you needed to have the wildlife rehabilitation licenses, but I didn't
Yes.
realize that there were certain ones that you needed to get from the USDA too. Like this USDA Class C for the exotics. If somebody
Mhm.
in another state was interested in getting into wildlife rehabilitation, is that a license that they would also need to get, or is it on a state basis as well?
A lot of states don't mandate that you have it. They just mandate that you have their state wildlife license. Me, I prefer to have both my state and my federal license to do wildlife, but I also want to have that USDA license because it helps guide extra protection for the animals.
It sounds like you've an incredible level of lifelong dedication because you started out
Mhm.
decades ago, especially like when mentors and resources were a little bit more scarce. So
Yes.
you had a deep love for animals. How did you learn to do the rehab?
As I said, growing up on the farm, yeah, we had the basic farm animals, but we always had baby deer coming up. We had raccoons, possums out there. And every so often out on the farm, we would see a mountain lion or a cougar. My dad knew that it broke my heart if he saw tried to kill them, protecting the animals and stuff. So we took the passion of finding ways to deter them away from the farm animals, but also making it a way where those animals could have a safe sanctuary on our farm back home.
I'd like to talk a little bit about Tyler because
Okay.
Tyler is a little bit of a social media sensation.
Thank you.
You described how he came into your life. How old was he when you got him?
When I got Tyler, he was only maybe 2 months old, and he's a big boy now. He is the one that basically started the foundation towards the special needs animals.
Yeah, that's what I was actually going to ask you if he was your first
Yes.
lifelong resident that was going to live with you under the special needs.
Yeah, he's the one that was basically the foundation that started the special need rescue.
Well, he had all of these issues you said with his paws being deformed from the dogs attacking him. How much time did you have to spend rehabilitating him and what did he need to get done by a vet in terms of surgeries and stuff?
Part of his back was torn open. His one eye was literally almost torn out of the eye socket. We had to sew his back. We had to sew his eye back in and hope that he wouldn't lose his sight. His paws were literally, instead of facing forward, they were facing almost completely back. So he had to have surgeries to start forming them forward. And it would take some plates, it would take pins, and it wasn't just one surgery. He had to have multiple surgeries. I had to do therapy with him. We went through a long journey. It was a lot of hands on with cleaning his bandages every 20 to 30 minutes to make sure that they wouldn't get infected. There was times that I thought he was going to give up on me.
I can't imagine the poor guy going through that. It's something that's hard to even wrap your head around that he could have been gone through that to have
Okay.
to go through all those surgeries and all that intensive care.
Yeah, I'm glad he did.
With him being, like you said, 2 months old, I would imagine that is a little bit an older age if you were to find a bobcat out in the wild that didn't go through all this trauma that he went through. That a bobcat
Mm.
that would be 2 months old would almost pretty much be wild. Of course, you would still have to teach him how to be a bobcat. But how is Tyler different from that, that he was able to imprint on you?
Because of all the hands-on, I was constantly having to hold him up against my body for warmth. He would not stay in his incubator. He would not lay on heating pads. If I even put him down just for a minute to make his bottle, he would cry, he would yell, and as soon as I pick him up, he would cuddle into me. So I literally had to put him in a little pouch and carry him around like a kangaroo mama. It was the only way to comfort him, and as long as he stayed calm and as long as he stayed comfort, he was willing to eat, he was willing to take his medicine, but the moment that I was out of his sight, he became scared. He just wanted to cry, and you couldn't blame him, he was traumatized so much.
So, would you consider him now to be more behavior wise like a house cat?
Bobcats are never like a house cat. They can have their 1 minute, their sweet little pleasure of purring and looking at you, and within a second, they can still turn right around and use those sharp claws and teeth on you. But Tyler, yeah, I still say he's special, but you still have that protection there.
What does a typical day look like living alongside him as in terms of like enrichment, diet, territory, and safety protocols?
With Tyler, every day is an amusement. He will literally take the dog he's caught from the dog. And when the dog wants its bed, Tyler will look up like whatever and go back to sleep. If the dog's trying to take the blanket and get him off of it, Tyler's like hissing at him like it's his bed now. He will not get off that doggy cot until he's ready. And the dog has learned that. When it comes to making his food, he will literally walk around you. He will do a large meow when you help because he knows his feeding schedule. And then he goes and he sits on the counter and he sits there and he watches you make his food until that plate is ready. He will supervise everything.
And what do you feed him?
His right now, I pick up his special diet food. It's a carnivore meat that all the zoos use for the carnivores. They're same with the tigers, the bobcats, and stuff there. So I order the special cases. It's delivered to the zoo. I can either pick it up at the Dallas Zoo or the Fort Worth Zoo, but it already is custom made. It has all the supplements in it. And this way, I know he's getting the proper enrichment that his body and his species needs.
I'm sure a lot of people see the videos and see how cute he is, and they all think, I want to go out and get a bobcat. So, can you explain to people why that's something that they should not be doing? And also, just because you do need to have some specialized training, because, like you said, he is a lot different from a house cat. So, just because you're used to dealing with cats does not mean you'd be used to dealing with a bobcat.
One, it's against the law in a lot of the states to own any type of wildlife. You have to have a special license to have any type of wildlife or exotic. Two, the reason why I specialize in these animals is because, like I said, 1 minute they can give you this sweet purring sound, this cute, innocent look, and within a second, they can slice you open. Their demeanor will change for no reason. It could be because of a certain sound, it could be a smell, it could be something that just stressed them out immediately that you were not aware of. They can be extremely destructive on your house too by clawing up the furniture. Their claws can actually tear up walls. And that seems to be their favorite thing. Yeah, they will use a cat treat, but you give a bobcat a wall, they're going to go after it and use it as their scratching post.
Yeah, I can't imagine having just regular cats and seeing the things that a cat will do, like to a door frame. I can only imagine what a bobcat would do to your wall.
And with a lot of the wildlife and exotics, they're used to using the outside to go potty. I am blessed that I am able to train the bobcats and all of them to use a potty box, and some of them I've even trained to use the toilet.
So, what other residents do you have in your care right now?
Right now, I just have the bobcats. I've got the 4 baby bobcats that came in that had burns on them. They are about 4 months old. They are completely over their burns, and we're getting their dietary and their nutrition up. So hopefully they can go back out into the wild if the vet deems it.
And how many do you normally take in a year?
That bases on different calls. There's been a couple of times that for a whole year, I'd only get maybe 2 or 3. This year, the calls have been really coming in where I've had over 20 some calls. It's just been a little crazy this year.
Do you focus primarily just on Texas or will you take them in from other areas as well?
That depends on the protocol and the case scenario. I have had calls from other states, rehabbers that got in a bobcat, and they've called me and asked me if I could guide them and train them on how to do a bobcat because they've never done it before, and I have educated them through Zoom. There's been times that they would come in twice a month, do some hands-on training with me, and go back to their own facility.
Another thing that I'd like to ask you about is I heard that for rehabbers that do bobcats that you need special enclosures for them.
Yes,
What type of enclosure do you need for a bobcat to be secure?
that is based on the aging. If you're talking an adult bobcat, the outside enclosure should meet the state guidelines. And again, each state is different by their guidelines on the size, the same as USDA. My outside enclosure are 24 by 24, and it's the galvanized chain fencing. It goes completely underneath. There's ground and the grass put above it. That way they can't dig under. It's all the way around the sides. It's got the roofing. There's also AC and heating hooked up, so that way they've got ventilated areas. I make sure that the animals stay comfortable.
With the new little ones that you have, the 4-month-old ones, are those
Mhm.
out in their enclosure or do you bring them in your home as well?
You know, those are in a special room with the same type of enclosure because, like I said, they just got over their burns. And even though they're over their burns, we still have to make sure that their fur is growing in properly to protect them. And once the vet says yes, they can start going outside more, then we will start introducing them to the outdoor closure. But right now, we try to keep everything on a sterile basis for them.
When they go into their outdoor enclosure, how long do they normally have to stay in that before they're okay to be released?
That is based on the time of the year that they come in because these babies are only 4 months old. They probably would not be releasable until February of next year to March of next year. You always wanna make sure that they are released in the beginning of a summer when it's cold but not too hot, so that way they have a chance to build their own den, learn to hunt, learn the territory so they can survive and be prepared for the winter that they're about to come.
Wow. So you'll have those babies almost all the way through next year, then, even if the vet says that they are releasable?
Yeah, it's like that with any wildlife. You don't wanna release them until they're at least a year old. You've gotta give them time to accept the environment. You never wanna release any wildlife in the fall or the winter. They wouldn't survive.
Wow. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people think about that in terms of when you take them in. I think people think that for a lot of wildlife rehabbers, you take them in, you heal them up, and you let them go right away. And so it's a quick turnaround. I knew you would have them for several months. I didn't realize that it could possibly be that long.
Yeah, you've gotta make sure that they're the right age. You've gotta make sure that they know how to hunt. They know how to seek out their prey. They're able to adapt to the environment. That's the reason why I had the private land, because at the same time we go out there, we got what's called a soft release. We got what is called the hard release. The soft release means we take them out. They're put in a large cage kennel area out there. They're learning how to hunt live prey that's put in there with them. They're getting used to the surroundings, the different environments out there. And then the hard release is where you finally open up that cage, you cry your eyes out, and you watch them run and be free.
And do they tend to stay around in the area where you release them?
A lot of them have, because that's where the game cameras come in, is we can see that they're still coming up. They're checking out the barns to hide in to have protection from the cold or the rain. We can see them out at the creek hunting and playing in the water, running across the fields, chasing a rabbit or a bird. I love the game cameras because to me it says they're safe, they're hunting, they're living wild, they're being free.
Yeah, you get to see how they're doing.
Yeah, and they stay protected, and that's what matters.
With Tyler, you use Tyler a lot for educational outreach.
Yes.
What is the most important message or common misconception you want to share with the public regarding wildlife?
The one thing that I'm always saying, that wildlife is not a pet. It is illegal to own them. You should leave it up to the trained wildlife rehabbers that are licensed and trained to care for them. If you find any wildlife that's in need, whether it's an orphan or injured, immediately reach out to a rehabber. That's the best way they're going to survive.
Now, as a rehabber, do you do any kind of continuing education?
Yes, I have done education to other rehabbers in other states. I had a young lady that was in Honduras that the government seized a fox from somebody over there. So I reached out to the government, and with a 3-hour phone call convincing, managed to start a rehab facility over in Honduras.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad that she still keeps an eye on the fox and she still reaches out to me.
And how long has that been?
That was a year and a half ago.
For any of our listeners who want to support spiritual wildlife rescue and follow Tyler's journey or donate, how can they find
Mhm.
you online?
On Facebook, I am Spiritual Wildlife Rescue and Rehabilitation Sanctuary. On TikTok, YouTube, all of the social media, I am Tyler the Bobcat. And I also have tylerthebobcat.org is his website.
And what do you need the most?
Myself and many rehabbers, monetary donations are the biggest gift of all, because that monetary donation goes towards buying their special food, their vet bills, their medication. Tyler has special medication that he needs, especially when the weather keeps changing. His paws do hurt because he does have arthritis and pain movement in there, and he's going to have it all of his life. So when it gets to bothering him, he lets me know, and he does have special medicine, and it is expensive.
Moon, thank you so much for taking the time to share your story with us today. And thank you for all the incredible work that you and your sanctuary do. And to all of our listeners, you can head on over to tylerthebobcat.org to support their mission. And thank you again, Moon. It was great to hear Tyler's story. And it was a very unfortunate beginning for him, but I am very glad that he ended up in your care.
And thank you for having us.
That's it for today's episode of Animal Posse. If you love what we're doing, please consider becoming a member. Your support directly helps us continue highlighting the people and stories that save lives across the country. Just a quick reminder, the views and opinions expressed by our guests are theirs alone and are provided for entertainment purposes. They don't necessarily reflect the official position of the show, and this information should never replace the advice of your own veterinarian. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. time.